everyone. Welcome to the last part of Why Did You Ask Me to Join Your Relationship Challenge, closing it with KuguInuShiba, and this also doubles as continuation of the previous part where Kuguri ended up in hospital. So, 2 in 1. As always, special thanks to my lovely patrons and all of you who still watch these videos. You're keeping this channel alive and going. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's get into it, shall we? The first few days he spent in the hospital were a blur of lights and sounds. Voices, muffled and distant, called his name or spoke about something he couldn't understand, until he finally managed to shake off the strange weight lying on his body and wake up. Or, well, at least open his eyes for long enough to recognize Yuki and So by his side. That was some time ago. How long was difficult to say, but he was sure he fell asleep again before he looked around now, the darkness behind the window being a clear clue about that. An involuntary whine, or perhaps a call, escaped his mouth, and it only took a second before the two loveliest faces he knew appeared in his line of vision. They both looked relieved as much as Kuguri could judge, their touch feeling cool against his skin. Shh, take it slow, don't rush. Yeah, don't overexert yourself. Kuguri managed to just nod, his movements sluggish as if he was still sleeping. He tried to jog his mind to work properly, even his thoughts taking a long time before they cleared and allowed him to assess the situation. Right. A hospital. He felt feverish, didn't he? And despite his protests, his boyfriend still took him to hospital. Everything still hurt, but at least his body wasn't on fire anymore. How do you feel? Tired. What happened? You had a high fever. So high even the doctors didn't know what to do. We were worried you had an infection, but fortunately it's all good. Isn't that amazing? He was so cheerful. Too cheerful, in fact, even for his standard. And Kuguri's heart ached when he noticed how tense Inoka's face was. How bad it had to be, he couldn't hide it even from his definitely still slightly feverish mind. Before he could say anything, the cool touch on his cheek turned his attention to Shibayama, the familiar soft smile chasing away some of the icy cold fingers of guilt creeping around his heart. Don't worry about anything right now, okay? Just rest and get better. We'll be here when you wake up. As if charmed by Shibayama's words, Kuguri's eyes fluttered close against his will, and soon he was thrown back into the soft darkness. The next time he woke up, it was just him and Inoka in the room, sleeping with his head laid against the bed. He desperately wanted to reach out to him, to brush his fingers through his hair or touch his hand to feel the familiar warmth Inoka always carried with him, but his body refused to listen even to that simple demand. He tried to call Inoka's name a few times before his voice returned, startling his boyfriend from slumber. No? Oh, sorry, I had to nod off. Rubbing the back of his neck, he chuckled a bit awkwardly and then shuffled the chair closer, finally taking Kuguri's hand in his and leaving a kiss on his fingers. Feeling better? Do you need anything? Water, painkillers? No. Just you. Aw, did the fever take away your filter? That's going to be fun. He let out a quiet laugh, the most pleasant sound Kugure had heard in the last... How long was it anyway? But despite obviously being happy, Kugure couldn't shake off the feeling that something about Inoka was off. As if there was something he wasn't telling him, and that scared him. I'm sorry. Huh? What for? For making you take care of me. Again. He froze when nothing less than horror flashed across Inoka's face. The grip on his hand tightened as Inoka leaned closer to him to cup his cheek, looking almost frantic. No, don't say stuff like that, okay? You aren't a burden. We believe you were sick, I swear. We would never leave you to suffer. So, please trust me. You are the dearest person we have. We know you didn't just pretend or lied. Kugure froze, a flash of memories from years ago when he was the one saying similar words, speeding up his heartbeat. Why was Inoka mentioning it now? And how did he know about it in the first place when he never said a word about it to either of his boyfriends? Did he just take a lucky guess? No, that would be too much of a coincidence. So how... No, shh, it's okay. Breathe, please. The despair in his voice amplified, urging Kugure to listen and try to get his breath under control just to get rid of it. Regardless of what happened to him, he couldn't stand seeing his loved ones in distress or pain. That's good. Deep breaths. Please don't scare me like this. I don't want you to get hurt again. I'm sorry. It's okay. Just relax now. It's going to be fine, I promise. Everything will be fine. Slowly, painfully slowly, Kugure managed to regain stability, calming down the beeping of the heart monitor next to him. And even Inoka seemed to relax, though there were still remnants of tension visible in his face. It was unusual to be cared for to this degree, though Kugure supposed he should get used to it already. However, the whole situation still left him rather confused. What happened? With a heavy sigh, Inoka kissed his forehead and sat back in the chair. You were hallucinating when we got here, begging us for help and trying to convince us in how much pain you were, even though we knew it was serious. He bit his lip, and Kugure's stomach sank. I'm pretty sure you saw your parents. Or your exes. Maybe both. It was horrible. Oh. That's why. He braced himself mentally, but to his surprise, instead of a horde of questions, Inoka just shook his head and squeezed his hand more firmly. His expression still pained, but determined. It's okay now. It's not going to happen again. Not as long as we are around. I promise. You don't have to be scared to tell us when you are unwell. I know it will be difficult to overcome everything you've been told, but I swear we will never dismiss you. Not your feelings, and definitely not your pain. Kugure could cry. True, he heard those words before, but somehow, hearing it now after his soul got involuntarily bared to them, Inoka sat here with him, not disgruntled, but worried about him, promising to be there for him at all times. Somehow, Kugure knew he was absolutely serious in that moment, and he could trust him with his whole heart. He closed his eyes, just to preserve the moment better, while a quiet thank you slipped from his lips, when another memory from a much more recent past called for his attention. The challenge he created himself, but which he didn't manage to do before everything went down. Can I ask you something? Yeah, of course. Why did you want me to join your relationship? He could swear Inoka's skin lost a few shades after his question. No, Is that still worrying you? I swear I love you with my whole heart. It's not because of that. I'm just curious. You two looked happy together already, and I'm pretty sure you hated me in high school. But now, what changed? With a sigh, Inoka's shoulders slumped. We were just kids back then. I didn't know any better. You were our rivals, and you played so well in that match it made me a bit angry and jealous, even though we won in the end. But we grew up, and I realized it was easier to love you than hate you when we met again that day. Loosely translated to, you got even prettier than in high school, and I was thinking with anything but my brain that day. The glare Inoka threw at him did nothing to erase the content smile from Shibayama's lips, much to Kuguri's amusement. As if you were any better. I still remember what you said then, you know. You were just as horny as me. So, at least I'm not ashamed to admit it. Feeling his cheeks warming up, Kuguri whined quietly and pulled his head between his shoulders with the reminder of their last fun afternoon about a month ago. At least Shibayama said it was fun. He had enough to do to stop himself from crying in relief to think about whether fun would be the right word to describe what he felt. Feelings of being loved and cherished would probably be closer to what the encounter left him in. Was that your reason too? A reason for what? For asking me to join your relationship. Shibayama hummed as if thinking about it, and then gave Kuguri the softest smile he had ever seen from him, making his heart skip a beat. Partially, yeah. But mostly because you are the most gentle soul I've met in my life, and I really wanted to have you around. Aside from being smart and pretty, obviously. That's what I wanted to say before you interrupted me. Sure you did. Hey, I'm not that shallow. I love now for who he is too. Oh yeah? Good to know you aren't just thinking with your dick around him. How dare you? They slipped into playful banter, the kind Kuguri missed so much with everything going on recently. The words warmed him from the inside in a way he never thought possible. Not for him, at least. And watching his boyfriends take gentle jabs at each other as if melted away all the tension that previously gathered in the air. If it was because he was awake, or because they finally spoke their minds, he wasn't sure. But it was beautiful nonetheless. He blinked away the mist from his eyes, feeling his eyelids getting heavy and his body growing more weary every second. He didn't want to go back to sleep yet, hoping to enjoy more of the content atmosphere with the ones he loved. But the gentle kisses landing on his lips persuaded him otherwise. Rest now. We aren't going anywhere. Yeah, we are always with you. And Kuguri trusted them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. So now that you know that Kuguri is fine and their whole relationship is fine, and now that this challenge is completed, we can move to the, I don't know if I can say much anticipated, but kinda anticipated Would You Love Me If I Was a Worm challenge for Polyships, where we will meet a new Polyship. So I hope you are looking forward to that. If you have any requests or ideas, the request form is linked in the video description. See you next time!